2 kinds of cheese.
Called it like the 55-5 rule. Something that's readable at like 50 feet away and 5 feet away rule, and then the 5 inches rule. First you get the big overall like diagonal layout. Then you get like, you know, like the contrast between the two, and then you get like the details like layered down within each one individually. You're kind of nailing the different scales.
So what you're saying is I'm a design genius. Welcome to Attack the Pantry, the musical. Finally. Finally. Yeah.
There you go. I'm not gonna, I would join you, but I don't want you to lose viewers.
No, it's all right. They brought this on themselves by redeeming the sing-along. What have you wrought upon us, you bad dudes?
You gotta give it up for a few bad dudes. They're gonna make you sing.
Y'all, this is the first time that I've had to do this. And maybe I don't have to keep going up. I can go down.
You can always go down.
Oh, see, wonderful. You have a wonderful singing voice.
Many in my life have disagreed.
No, not at all. But, okay, so you're here because we met through tabletop stuff. But yeah. I wanted to invite you because you worked in restaurants for a while.
Yes.
Last time on the show, we talked to Joe Laporte about his sweet tooth and strange sodas.
10 years.
10 years.
That's an accomplishment, y'all.
I know.
Marriage is a lot of work.
It's a choice. It's a choice you make every day.
You make the choice every day.
You make it every day. You wake up and you're like, I guess we're doing
go,
this
but
another
we're not.
day. We'll do this one more day.
One more day.
And every
one
day you
day
do that.
more. Whoa, hey everybody, welcome back to Attack the Pantry. I am your host, Jenn Vega. Hope you're having a good day, despite all of the Twitter madness. Oh my god. If you're new to the show, this stream is a deep dive into ingredients, cooking techniques, and recipes to help you cook for yourself during the ongoing outdoor situation and maybe for the rest of your adult life. Who knows? Hopefully we are helpful to you today and many other days. I don't know. Last time on the show, we did a little bun cha cook along, which was like a Vietnamese salad and rice noodle situation. It was very rewarding and awesome. You can check out all the past clips here on my channel if you click on videos, and the entire archive is located at youtube.com/JENNDLV. I'll put that on the screen for you real quick. Let me see. Oh, I changed the links. Never mind. It's just youtube.com/JENNDLV. What's wrong with me? Hi, Kelly. How you doing, Kelly? Good to see ya. You ready for some streaming tonight, Kelly? There's lots of stream happening. Just to get some business out of the way, folks, I am a Twitch affiliate. That means if you subscribe to the channel, I get a little bit of money to help make it better every day. And one way around that is if you have Amazon Prime, you can gift a subscription to your favorite creators every month for free if you're already paying for Amazon Prime. So if you have one of those, click on that purple button that says gift a sub, and you'll get a little crown next to your name in the chat. It's so cute. We have a lot of good links to get to know me if you click on the About tab here on the Twitch channel. We also have a few new sponsors, which is really exciting. You can click the panels to check them out. But first up is Thermopop, which is a thermometer from ThermoWorks, and I really like using their products, and so I get a little commission every time anyone buys from them, which is great. And then also Field Company, which is a fantastic cast iron company founded by my friend Chris Muscarella. And so if you buy a cast iron pan through them, or even a cast iron cleaning kit through them, I get a little commission as well. So that's the fun business. Besides that, guess what, friends? we have a guest. Please welcome to the stream, Joe.
Hey everyone. Joe here. That's me. That's my intro music.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Like I was saying earlier, there's an energy today. It's one of those. We're gonna get weird.
We're gonna get really weird today. First of all, who are you? What do you do in the world? What's going on?
Yeah. So I'm Joe. I do entirely too many things.
Same.
But most.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. We can relate to that. Yeah, so most of my stuff is through an audio production and music collective that I run with some friends called The Fanet. TheFanet.com is where you can find that stuff. I make music under the name Mapper. It's like indie emo stuff. And I have a podcast called Lore Club that Jenn is occasionally on.
Occasionally.
Oh, you're over here. There we go. Yeah, and it's a very difficult to describe podcast, but basically it's like video game audiobooks, I think is probably the best way to describe it right now.
I really love the idea of Lore Club because I am a person who reads all that lore in the games. Yes. I will open every book. And there was a point during my first run through of Skyrim where I was just really optimistic about all the ruined books. They're just ruined books. And I'm just like, wait, but it might have something in it.
Exactly. That's one of the great disappointments of the ruined book item.
Ruined book.
Is like, yeah, you would think, in like, if it was developed by, an indie developer or something like that, there would be some deep meta commentary just laden in the ashes of the pages of the ruined books.
I know. I can salvage some like ancient knowledge somehow.
Yeah, some reference to the King in Yellow or something like that, buried in the forgotten text.
Where are you based, Joe? I actually don't know this, or maybe I haven't paid attention.
I talk about it all over the internet, so you can't dox me. I'm based out of New Braunfels, Texas.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's sort of the Austin San Antonio corridor, or the I-35 corridor is what we call it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Aram's in the chat, previous guest here on Attack the Pantry. Man, there is so much lore in Marvel's Midnight Suns that is all reading. I believe it. I believe it.
I guess that makes sense, like, in terms of that medium, like translating anything comic books to anything else. Reading's going to come along with that.
And so I always ask my guests, how do we know each other?
Yeah. How do we know? I mean, I was a listener of Fun City. Yeah, right. I was a listener of Fun City, so I obviously saw you on the Discord there, and yeah, I think we started just watching each other's Twitch streams.
Yeah.
And
you were playing.
I think I was playing
Elder
Skyrim.
Scrolls.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Skyrim specifically. I think it was before
or Oblivion.
that. Yeah, you were playing
the one
Oblivion.
Yeah, because I had already finished Morrowind at that point, I think.
I was like, same brain.
Yeah, exactly. And then I asked you to collaborate on Lore Club, and yeah. It's
Very
been cool.
excited. What can we look forward to with Lore Club?
Oh, man.
People who
so we're
do
about
not
to
know.
start.
Yeah.
So we just finished sort of doing a production of all of the 36 lessons of Vivek, which is like this huge in-game Bible, basically, for the sort of dark elf religion, the Dunmer religion. And next up, we're going to cover A Dance in Fire, which is more of like a traditional novella. Like it could not be a video game book, and it would make just as much sense. So I think A Dance in Fire will be really cool. It'll be a little more in that like traditional audiobook territory. And yeah, ideally getting a little more complex with like the sound design and stuff going forward.
That's exciting.
But yeah, so that's what we're going to do next. And then eventually we're planning on getting into some fan fiction stuff after that. So that'll be fun.
So you had mentioned that you also make music.
Yeah.
I have dabbled as well. And
I've listened to some of your music.
You have a release coming up.
Yes. Yeah, next Friday, I think it's the 15th, the 17th, something like that. 17th, yes.
My calendar, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I have Google Calendar pulled up at all times because otherwise I am non-functional. The ADHD brain is real. Yeah. Anyways, so the Friday, the 17th, my solo project, Mapper, has an EP coming out. It's called Collarbones. It's named after one of the tracks on there, and the other tracks are stuff that I've already released. We're just sort of packaging it together and putting it all out.
Nice.
As I am wont to do. It's a fun little like emo indie thing that gets kind of heavy toward the end. It was fun.
Great. Where does the name Mapper come from?
So I before I like got, I mean, I've always been into music, but before I tried to get professionally into like music and audio stuff. I was doing lots of illustrations because that's also something I do as like a stress relief / hobby. Is just ink art, and I was drawing a lot of like dungeon maps because I'm super into D&D, and like posting those on Instagram. And I was doing commissions and stuff at the time of these like dungeon map and magic item illustrations. And so when I was coming up with an artist name, I was like, oh, cartographer would be cool, like a map maker. But it sounded like I was gonna be like a technical metal band if that was the name that I used, Yeah. Cartographer's up there with like I don't know, inverter or like periphery or like textures. It's just one of those like really bitey mathy
Sounds very
names.
like mathy. Yeah, that totally sounds mathy.
Yeah,
that's so cute though.
It's one of those. So I just sort of like simplified it because I just put it in sort of layman's terms. Mapper.
I like it. Yeah. Did you ever hear about that video game Mappy?
I don't think so.
It's an older arcade game. They have it at the National Video Game Museum, and you might find it in like some older bars. But it's about a mouse. No. Yeah, it's about a cat who is a cop named Boss the Big Bit, who is chasing Mappy, who is a mouse, around all these buildings. Great. And so it's like these tall buildings with doors and stuff, but the bottom level is all like trampolines, and so you have to like run around and avoid all the little cat cops. But Mappy is a great little game.
That's great. Man.
Not Mapper,
the video game
but
industry
Mappy.
has always been ACAB at its core.
Right? My goodness. Well, let's just move right along here also into our show and tell segment of the show. And folks, if you want to participate in this next week, you can DM me or tag me on your Instagram. Maybe Twitter. I don't know if Twitter will be working next week because it wasn't working for me today.
Yeah.
Damn. But folks, if you want to send me photos, you can hit me up on Instagram or Discord or wherever, even on Patreon. But folks, send me in stuff. We cheer you on. If it's a cooking photo, you can ask me cooking questions. You can take pictures of stuff at the grocery store. Like if you don't know what it is, you can just take a picture and be like, what do I do with this? And I'll answer your questions. But a few things, business side, there's a new culinary word of the day episode. It is done this. And it went up this morning. And another thing, we're recording a mailbag episode. So if folks have heard any of season 2 of Culinary Word of the Day, we'd love your feedback, especially if you learned about a new ingredient, a new technique. We want to read your letters on the air, so it's going to be great. Yeah.
Nice.
This week,
doneness is such a good word. Sorry.
Doneness is a great word.
It's really good.
No, so like in a word of the day podcast, it's meant to be very short. So the dictionary definition is kind of the only thing we can really dig into in like 5 minutes. So we have like another chat show about like doneness and how great of a word it is and how majority of people understand it to be related to meat. But there are so many other things that have doneness that you could throw in there, like cakes have doneness.
Yeah,
bread has
because
doneness.
like doneness being like the state of being done.
Yeah.
Done can mean so many different things in so many different contexts.
Yes. And yeah, it's like it's got this interesting definition. It's at the level desired, and so like who's desired? Like
Ooh.
what?
Yeah.
It's a great word, but folks, if you want to check it out and hear the discussion about it, you can subscribe to Culinary Word of the Day. Hooray. This week on my Patreon, this is at patreon.com/randwiches, we have a savory soy milk pudding. This is mushroom flavored because I've been experimenting with, I don't know, making my own puddings at home. So this is a soy-based one.
As one does.
As you do, as I do specifically.
Yeah.
Me.
It's tangential to pickling. It's just like the next thing over.
Available this week at Wonderville, which is the bar in Bushwick where I provide the hot dog toppings, is the Mustard Combat. This is fermented mustard greens with white onion on a beef hot dog or a vegan sunflower hot dog. Exciting. We are also now carrying hot dog stickers, so if you want to pick those up in person, they are available now behind the bar. Just ask your bartender. I have merch. It's a panel on my about page here on Twitch, and you can check out all the Eggy emote stickers. And we have an anorak, which is a pullover jacket thing, and I got one, and it's awesome. It's like a windbreaker situation. But folks, if you're interested in that, you can check out the Fourth Wall store below the video here. Show and tell time. Let's see what folks have sent in. Dan made a big old pot of mussels with white wine, bacon, celery, and cream on Saturday.
Nice.
Wow. I love mussels. But my favorite thing about mussels is not actually the seafood itself. It is dipping that damn bowl of bread there at the bottom into the broth. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. They call it the mussel liqueur.
Ooh.
In a lot of cookbooks, they refer to that liquid that comes from seafood as the mussel liqueur or the clam liqueur.
That's so French.
I know.
The French, they're like, hey, this juice that drips out of this thing that we set on fire.
Yeah.
It's liqueur.
It's not not its life force.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kelly, giving us the descriptive show and tell today. I dehusked 4 cups of chickpeas and it was a labor of love, but geez, I know what you mean. I think a faster secret to that is doing it in a bowl of water because the husks will float. So next time, if you can do that, maybe, unless you did that already, let me know. But that is one piece of advice I can offer. I'm sorry, Kelly.
It's something. Some consolation.
Sorry, Kelly. But this looks awesome, Dan. You're making me so hungry. Jeez. Sonia sent this one in. Apparently, the Reading Terminal Market in Pennsylvania has one-of-a-kind bouquets. Can you tell what the bouquet is without zooming in on the text?
Yeah, I already spoiled it for myself.
It is a bouquet of corn dogs.
That's so good.
I would like to receive that.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. I don't know what other bouquets are out there in the world. My friends Annie and Kate did mushroom bouquets for like a dinner that they hosted. It was so cute as like a centerpiece.
That's
like
really
they got
cute.
like really
I could
big.
see that being like especially if you had some sort of like, I don't know, I associate certain like the aesthetic of mushrooms with like certain aspects of paganism and stuff like that. So imagine if you were doing like, you know, some sort of like Celtic wedding or something. It'd be cool to have just like a, I don't know, a big bouquet of weird plate mushrooms and stuff.
That's so sick.
That would be cool.
Actually, a good idea. Someone hired me to do that because I've done I've done a charcuterie bouquet for a bride.
I saw that.
Walking down the aisle, and it was one of the most fun things I've had to put together because I make a lot of, you know, charcuterie boards, but that's like a flat, like 2D experience of it, really.
Yeah.
And so I got to go to Michael's for the first time in like years. And I got like like silver tissue paper, sequin ribbon, and like flower wire to make it happen, and it was so much fun.
That's
And
cool.
they ate it.
Yeah. It's like
Functional.
a turkey leg or whatever, except deconstructed.
Except a bouquet at a wedding.
Yeah.
But thanks, Sonia, for sending this one in. I hope that someone in Pennsylvania gets this for Valentine's Day, because this rules.
It's so good. I imagine you could do like pastries would be super easy to turn into a bouquet too.
Like cinnamon rolls, like little ones. And palmiers. You know those pastry palmiers? They look like curled up. I don't know.
It's a cool name.
They're really beautiful.
Yeah.
If you were to gift a bouquet to somebody next week, what would you make it out of?
Oh God. I don't know. I
What's your favorite thing to make into a bouquet? What kind of food
can we
would
make
you...
a pizza bouquet? I don't know why.
Totally.
I'm craving pizza right now.
Pizza rolls.
Yeah,
Do
pizza rolls.
Pepperoni roll or something.
Hell yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Now I want to try that.
Yeah.
This one was sent in from Matthias. A Nancy panel by Ernie Bushmiller, a classic. I've been sent this comic a few times.
I can imagine.
A hippo yelling hot dogs. At least that's what I think the hippo's voice sounds like. Hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
like a horn, a foghorn.
Yeah. That'd be really good. You could easily adapt that into a cool tattoo.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Chris, are you watching? Where's Chris? Where's Chris?
Hey, Chris. Hey.
My partner and personal tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Who gave me Mercus. Well, I'll do a bigger zoom in of that later.
Yeah.
But this is a great idea for a tattoo. A hippo yelling hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, my friend Marvy sent this very cursed image.
That is disturbing.
It's so cursed. It is some tattoo artist using a hot dog with a tattoo gun. So unsanitary, breaking a lot of laws, but hilarious nonetheless. Yeah, Madrid the Kid. It is a photo. Very, very inducing.
Just injecting nitrates directly into your skin.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, my blood pressure.
Yeah.
Bad. These are a few things I made this week. On the left, we have durian almond ice cream with a chocolate swirl. It sounds crazy, but it was pretty good. On the right, we got avocado chicken dumpling sausage sandwich. I'm just cooking through my freezer right now, so all my sandwiches are truly, truly random. But I'm trying to bring back my original purpose in life, which is random sandwiches, and that's my handle everywhere. I've had it for 12 years, and I've just been losing sight of the sandwiches, so I'm just making more sandwiches these days on Instagram, so that's why.
I had no idea of the origin of that name until I saw you posting those the last week or so.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. How can I not see it?
I actually had a delivery service here in New York City. I was unemployed. I was kind of bored, honestly, and I really loved cooking, but I wasn't really working in restaurants yet. And so I decided to ask my friends, like, hey, can I just bring you a random sandwich at work? And their coworkers would get jealous. And I started a Tumblr account documenting all of this stuff, like today's random sandwich. And then people would be like, ooh, I don't want to peek, at the ingredients.
Yeah.
Because they would open it and be so surprised. And it became sort of the origin of my catering business. So I've gone 12 years. I'm catering, film sets, and weddings now. But I don't do the sandwiches as much. So I'm trying to bring it back. Get
That's
back to
so cool.
the roots.
You accidentally turned this ennui into an exclusive dining experience on wheels.
It's true. It was a weird timing though, because I don't know. It went a little viral, which I didn't want to happen, and it sort of I was not ready to start a business, really. I wasn't ready to make this a full-time thing. I don't want to open a restaurant. I don't want to open a shop. That's crazy. And so I sort of like left it behind for a couple years so I could do weddings and like do all this other stuff. But that's the origin story of Rain Witches, if folks were curious about that. When was the last time you had a toast cheese? Do you know this cracker sandwich? The
Yes.
cheddar cheese and peanut butter cracker sandwich for $1.
My kid loves them.
Your
Maybe
kid
not
loves
like
them.
toast cheese specifically, but
Sure.
you know, they're like brands of, you know, that do a similar thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you encounter them pretty often.
Yes. Yeah. I've probably had one a few months ago.
I haven't had one since I was 9. And it tastes the same, and I'm sure they bought it at the same time. These things are so shelf stable, it's alarming. Got a lot of preservatives in there.
It's definitely one of those, like, you don't want to read the
You don't
ingredients
want to know.
list.
You don't want to know. But it's kind of the only instance that I've seen of peanut butter and cheddar as like a flavor
Yeah.
combination. I don't see anywhere else really with this combination.
And it's like a specific kind of cheddar flavor, too.
Yeah, it's not
It's
like,
like-
the sharp cheese flavor. It's the mellow, like savory
Yeah.
part of it, which is why it works with the peanut butter.
Yeah.
But I want to know, chat, y'all, if anyone has seen another naturally occurring combination of peanut butter and cheese.
I think you
mean-
got to make it happen. I mean, that could easily be another Randwich.
Sure, it's true.
Yeah.
There are definitely curries that employ peanut butter, and there are curries that use like paneer or like cheese, but that's not the same cheese, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear if anyone knows of anything else where like cheddar and peanut butter is like a solid combination, you know?
Yeah. Or like some other like nutty plus like dairy savory sort of thing.
I mean, the only other instance I can think of is, you know, those like holiday popcorn tins.
Yeah.
So there's like cheddar, caramelized popcorn, and butter. And a lot of people eat the caramelized popcorn and the cheddar one
Yeah.
together. So I don't know. Maybe it's like a 90s thing, 80s, 90s thing.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to look into this. On the right, I actually made this an hour ago. These are chickpea tortillas. So I'm trying to get that effect of, you know how a flour tortilla has those like brown splotches? So we're trying to do that by torching the chickpea tortillas.
Nice.
Because on set tomorrow we have somebody who's gluten-free, and so I have a lot of alternative flours, so I made chickpea tortillas from scratch.
That's cool.
Oh, you thought they were mushrooms? It does look like a mushroom cab, but it is a stack of tortillas. That's amazing. This is really dumb. This is such a dumb thing, but I just wanted to share a hack with everybody. This is so like I have this problem whenever I'm on a film set or a photo shoot where I'm providing food. I have a Sharpie that people borrow to write their name on things. So like if you have a cup, you write your name on it, you know, or you have a name tag, you write your name on it, whatever. So I always lose the Sharpie on set. And so I've devised this contraption where, so you know how Sharpies usually have a cap? This one is a ballpoint plunger. So
Nice,
it doesn't
yeah.
have a cap, so you can't walk away with it, first of all. I've duct taped a strong piece of twine to it at maybe an arm and a half's length. And then I have a fabric square that I've sewn and duct taped the twine into. And then we have safety pins so that it will safety pin to the tablecloth. So you cannot walk away with the Sharpie without taking the entire table with you.
It's like the craft equivalent of like a Kensington lock for a laptop or something like that. You could patent this.
We'll see. We'll see if people actually like respect the Sharpie or if they try to walk away with it.
Yeah, just
I don't know.
Yeah, just rip out the twine.
It's a challenge. Like one of the producers walked up to me and was like, "We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow." I was like, "Crap! I have to buy more Sharpies."
Yeah. The producer was already planning on stealing the Sharpie.
I know, right? All right. Anyway, enough about my work. Let's talk with Joe about food and video games. And I pay attention to this stuff, like, because when we're trying to be immersive and trying to tell stories in different worlds or trying to experience stories in different worlds and be immersive, food is pretty central to that, I believe. And thinking about how a character lives and subsists themselves is like, I don't know, it makes you part of the game more so than, character who just appears at new levels just without any thought. Like, oh, no time has passed, this person hasn't eaten, they haven't relieved themselves, they haven't slept.
Yeah. And it's it says something about like I guess it depends on genre as well.
True.
But it says something about like what the game devs or the writers find important when you're thinking about where they chose to include food and what role it plays.
Yes.
And how you interact with it. Even something as simple as on your Skyrim stream the other day, like pausing to consume a shit ton of potions and food because you're being killed, and then like going back and it's like no time has passed. And you have games like Elden Ring where you have to physically stop and take a bite out of a thing in order to consume it. There's like very different ways you can incorporate it.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. In preparation for our discussion today, I wrote a little bit on my Patreon about just food in games, and it's just specifically Skyrim is kind of like expanding the you can pet the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in games there's this concept of can you pet the dog? Is there a mechanic for this very special interaction or thing that you find very familiar? And cooking is my can you pet the dog?
Yeah. It's like this like human like tangible touchstone that you have in this like virtual world. Because cooking or like food in general, like the things we consume are a reflection of like social status, culture, values, your belief system. All of those things like affect what you consume, what you put into your body. And when you're able to engage with that in a video game, you're able to like engage with the world of the video game on those same levels. You know, depending on how deep they allow those systems to get.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think the complexity of Skyrim's cooking mechanic also supports the whole open world kind of feel,
Yeah.
Like they really drilled down into this, or relatively to other video games, they've drilled down pretty far, but as a chef, pretty shallow.
Yeah. I was thinking about that earlier, like the because obviously when it comes to games like Skyrim or like really any other RPG that has a crafting system, like you can use ingredients as a way to like motivate players to explore different regions because the ingredients reflect like regionality and rareness. They're there to encourage exploration, like give you a reason to go out into the forest and do stuff.
Yeah. It's really
I forgot
funny.
where I was going with this.
No, I can pick up where you left off there. It's really funny to me that yes, there's different biomes, but there's no seasonality in Skyrim. They have days of the week, but they don't have weather seasons. So they've squished the two together. They've squished biome with season. So there are places where things can only grow, like Jazz Bay grapes are like in like steamy volcanic areas. So when they can't keep track of seasons, they've just pushed it to the terroir of the area or the specific flavor profile of an area, which I find really fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. And like Elden Ring has a similar solution.
Yes.
Or like most MMORPGs, you go to the different region and like this is the winter area. So we get gorges here or whatever, gourds here. But yeah, what I was saying earlier is I was thinking about you mentioned the complexity of Skyrim's system relative to other cooking systems.
Yeah.
And I would be really interested to see a game that like has I don't know if you're familiar with the genre of immersive sims, but like
a cooking sim.
Yeah, but like as an emergent property of the systems of the game, like having ingredients that interact with each other in different and unexpected ways, depending on all of those different things, like season and like time of day. I don't know. It would be cool to have a game that was as absurdly deep as real world cooking is.
I know. Oh my gosh. Because imagine if they injected all of my cheese knowledge into this game.
Yeah.
Like, imagine. So, like, there is such a thing as night cheese. Like, that joke from 30 Rock, how like, I'm working on my night cheese? Mm-hmm. Well, in Switzerland, if you milk a cow in the morning, its flavor will be very different from when you milk it at night.
Huh. Is it just like because of the hormones in the cow or whatever?
Yeah, what it's eaten, it's been depleted. Like, theoretically, the calves have eaten, so the cow doesn't have as much, and so the milks are very different, and they will have different flavor profiles. So,
that's so interesting.
I know. I could make whole games about this.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe we should someday.
Maybe we should someday.
Yeah.
I really like cooking in games, and the thing about Skyrim that's so weird is the cooking is very much on rails. Like, It's very set ingredients. There's no room for experimentation, except in the non-cooking cooking sense. So, like, in a crafting sense with alchemy, that's where you can really throw spaghetti at the wall, which I found really interesting. That was an interesting choice to relegate sort of the potion situation to more experimentation and danger than the cooking part.
Yeah. And also it seems arbitrary to separate potion making and cooking.
Yeah.
I feel like almost every game that has that sort of thing
they're like squished
separates
together.
those things. But one of the projects I've been working on in the background is a video game called Zagabel, where one of the sort of core mechanics toward the end of the game is putting together this potion, like brewing this potion. And one of the things I was realizing in my research, because it's a lot of like Eastern European lore, like Baba Yaga stuff. One of the things I was realizing in my research is like in the real world, there's basically no culture has had a distinction between like magic and cooking.
Yeah.
Pretty much every culture that has existed in the real... Yeah, exactly. Like, every culture has some interpretation of, like, as simple things as, like, oh, these seeds, when you dry them and put them in your purse, they give you good luck. Or, like, these things exist in the real world. So it's strange that in games, like, potion making and cooking are these two very separate things. And usually potion making is much more complex.
And it's funny, specifically in Skyrim, that so every ingredient that is a non-food item, technically, has 4 properties, like, that make different potions or poisons. And one of the ways that you can reveal a property is by ingesting it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm going to eat this bear claw, like a literal bear claw, not the pastry. I'm going to eat this dragonfly. A game that sort of brings in that alchemical relationship, but also they make the food bad. Like, oh, that doesn't go together. Is Breath of the Wild.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like Breath of the Wild. You can make potions and you can cook using the exact same method. But if you try to blend the like ingredients that you use for one or the other, you end
You
up
get
with
a
what is it,
a
dubious
scary
food or
looking- Yeah, dubious food.
yeah.
I think that's such a friendly way to say it. Dubious. Because dubious injects doubt, and it's not like, this is bad or this is terrible. It is dubious.
Yeah, like you probably don't want to put this in your body. It doesn't smell like something that you should have in your mouth.
I can imagine the polite Japanese game developer being like, Ganbare! You can cook! I believe in you!
Good job.
Good job! It's dubious though!
Even the music that they play whenever you get the dubious food is still like groovy and kind of
it's still
like
fun.
happy.
What I do like about these two like different crafting systems is it is encouraging people to cook. Like I like that. I like that people are going to remember that some mushrooms are edible and some aren't. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, I wonder if this, goat leg will taste good, if I roast it with this thing. Or, cabbage potato soup. I didn't know those two things go together. That's great. Like this kind of hidden understanding that you are gaining through playing a game is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, man. There's so many other things to talk about on that subject. But in terms of like going back to a game that has that level of complexity of like real world cooking, it would be cool to see something that combining the cooking and potion making mechanics into just the broad spectrum of cooking that actually like applies the sort of like magical effects, the like mini tiers of magical effects that you get with potion making ingredients to like normal foods, like flour, milk, all of those sort of things, your herbs, whatever. And that was one of the things I have been thinking about a lot with that game, Zagaval, that I've been just sort of had on the back burner for a while. So in my research, I've come across a lot of things from the real world like that, where it's just the ones I was referencing earlier were like coriander seeds, which are just like this totally normal everyday ingredient. But somebody in Eastern Europe a couple hundred years ago decided that they were good luck to have in your pocket.
That's so cool. I didn't know it was coriander.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Man, I think it's so cool to pass on knowledge through games. Like there are going to be people who are playing Skyrim and gathering wheat and being like, what do I do with this? And then they introduce in the DLC, you can mill your wheat. And you're like, why would I mill wheat? Oh, you're making flour. Wait.
Oh, that's how you do that. Oh, okay.
Wait, if I can make flour, I can make bread. I can do so many things. And I appreciate the granularity that they bring to this. But, they have to make shortcuts because it's a game and it can only be so big. Because that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is to slay dragons and go on quests and stuff. But eating is very much a supporting actor in all of this.
True. Yeah, and that conversion from ingredient to, or like from thing you harvested to usable ingredient is also like a coded thing in all of these games. You bring up a good point about the like limitations of these systems because the vast majority of like fantasy games are going to be from that sort of traditional like Western historical lens. So you have things like milling grain for bread, but you would never mill that grain and turn it into noodles in an RPG.
Yeah. Much easier, I have to say.
True. Yeah, but it's interesting. There's not a lot of you're talking about like, people getting into cooking through games. It would be interesting to see games like that where cooking wasn't a focus, but it was this additional thing that could, sort of a foot in the door method for getting people into cooking.
Yeah.
That had those broader sort of cultural influences or, sort of textures there,
Yeah.
as opposed to just grilling lamb and making bread.
Sort of shifting gears though into another Bethesda game, which is Fallout 4, which is another open world. There is cooking, but there is this overarching radiation layer that you have to deal with when consuming things from this world. So a lot of it is packaged food that has been exposed to radiation. There are bugs, there are vermin, and the reality of a post-apocalyptic world is that you're gonna have to eat things that you didn't previously think about.
Yeah, for sure. And that's also like another cool aspect of having games with these like various sort of intersecting systems, as you get to do a lot of environmental storytelling when you involve food. Something as simple as having different kinds of food be different kinds of radioactive or different levels of radioactive. That says a lot. Like, I'm fairly certain there are some prepackaged foods in Fallout that aren't radioactive.
Yeah.
The implication being that, they're so preservative rich that they're immune to nuclear apocalypse.
It's like the McDonald's hamburger, like lasting however 100-something days. Like you're like, oh, what have I been putting in my body?
The, like Twinkie Factory and what was it, Simpsons or Futurama? I think did an episode on a Twinkie Factory.
And like soda, there's a lot of soda. I think. Cola pops. It's been a long time since I've played those games, but it really makes you think though about. I don't know. You become more appreciative of the food that you do have.
Like for sure.
I hope it makes people think as they're playing these games and being like, "Oh, I don't want to eat that. Well, how do I prevent that? Oh, maybe I should learn how to cook, or don't waste things."
Well, and even broader than being exposed to something like that and having that thought of, "Oh, I should learn how to cook." There's also that thought of, "Oh, I should make sure that this sort of environmental collapse doesn't happen
to us."
Because what are those things that survive? They're, these like sort of, it's like the stamp of capitalist realism all over the game. They're all of these branded, commodified, prepackaged foods. You're not getting, like, the natural world has been so thoroughly destroyed in the world of Fallout that, you can't sort of reap its harvest anymore.
I haven't played any of the new Pokemon. Are you familiar with any of the new Pokemon?
Not really.
Not really. Me either. Okay,
I've sort of been tired out by the Pokemon franchise.
I get you. I know. I totally know what you mean. But Pokemon never really had. I think now in sort of the larger mobile game universe of Pokemon, there is cooking. I heard there are sandwiches now, but it evolved from the Game Boy version that is there's just candy. There's like treats for the Pokemon, not for you. Like, you as this tireless trainer who is going from land to land, conquering gym to gym, never eats or sleeps, but you are giving rare candy and throwing treats at Pokemon. Like, I think that is such a huge oversight in the franchise. But here, Purple Puppet is saying in the chat that there's curry in Sword and Shield. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. That it's becoming more included in the games.
Yeah.
Like, apparently there's a sandwich guy.
That sounds that does sound very, very much like that, the aesthetic of those games. To just have, like, a sandwich guy. Like, just like a dude that's called Sandwich Guy. It doesn't even have a real name.
I love that. But yeah, like, having food present in games is very different from having that, like, crafting, cooking mechanic. And I'm always looking for it. Like, do you have any, like, favorites that you've encountered? Oh, yeah, here, Kelly. Love Breath of the Wild's food making. Jolly little song.
Yeah, specifically, I like that Breath of the Wild's food making is that sort of like holistic, like potions and food and all of that stuff are intertwined. I mean, I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan. Of course, that's mostly potions. Yeah. Man, I was trying to think about this earlier, and I don't know if I have a favorite game as far as like the inclusion of food.
I mean, I have a lot of food games that I love, but not
exactly like Cooking
crafting.
Mama is great.
Yeah.
But that's a game about cooking.
About cooking. That's very different.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's really funny in Breath of the Wild when you are selecting ingredients, like Link is holding them and you can only hold 5, which is a funny limitation for any recipe. Like, I mean, there are a lot of recipes that are like 5 or less ingredients, but poor Link can only hold 5. And when you're holding a 5th mushroom, he's like, oh, this is too, his face very clearly says, oh, these are too many mushrooms. I can't help them.
Yeah. That boy does not know flavor, unfortunately. There's no spice in his life.
That poor Link.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. One of my favorite arcade games is called Burger Time, and you are a tiny chef, and you are running across a screen, and as you run across ingredients, it falls down Tetris style onto a burger. So you're trying to do it in order of making a burger, but it's just hilarious how the act of running over an ingredient is appalling if you think about it in reality, but in a game where you're suspending belief and you're using it as like a giant track to run on.
Yeah, exactly. I pulled up my Steam library to see if I had any specific ones, and the one that stands out to me, it doesn't have a cooking mechanic.
That's okay.
But as far as the role that food plays in your experience of the game and the way the story plays out, Pathologic 2. I don't know if you're familiar with Pathologic.
No.
I would definitely recommend looking into it.
Cool.
It is another strangely one set in Eastern Europe. I don't know why that's been an aesthetic that I've been drawn to lately, but basically, food in that game is you have a hunger and a thirst meter, and those meters interact. Like when you get tired, you get more thirsty, and you get more hungry over time naturally. And when you eat, you get more thirsty. And like clean water is a very scarce resource. Ooh. So you have to decide like if you sate your hunger and prevent your health from going down, and deal with being thirsty and not able to run for a little while, that sort of thing. And also depending on, because the story takes place over this like 12-day period, that's sort of decisions that you make throughout the game affect what happens on each day. The things that you do in the world affect the real world economy. And so food gets drastically more or less expensive, depending on what happens. And certain types of food fluctuate more or less in price. And it's just interesting, this sort of like, it really highlights like the food as commodity and like as this like necessary thing that you have to interact with just as a living being that has to, respirate.
In a wackier scenario, my friend Nick is making a game, so it's pretty cool. Like in New York, I have a lot of friends who make indie video games, and it's part of the bar that I work with, Wonderville. But Nick's newest game is called Hoverburger, and
that's great.
You play as a tiny flying burger. And you are trying to navigate through ruins of an older civilization. And what are you running away from? It's a giant apocalyptic mouth.
Just the true eldritch horror of like being the hunted.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's really funny. And the control is a spinning dial. So you are kind of turning the volume up and down on the burger, kind of going up and down on the
Nice.
screen. It's really cool, and I hope he debuts it soon. But there have been a lot of play tests, and I've seen it. It's this really cool black and white, pixely gray kind of animation, and I love that food can get really weird
Yeah.
in games. It can get real weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the idea of turning like a thing that was once living, plant or otherwise, into just matter that you like process in your body and turn into energy, that's pretty existentially terrifying. Like,
Yeah. It is a concept that kids, once they learn it, they're like, what?
that's what happens.
Like, what? So somebody in the chat recommended an anime to me a couple weeks ago, and it was called Sweetness and Lightning. It's on Crunchyroll, and it's very sweet, like lovely anime. And it's about a single dad who is kind of a bad cook, and once he learns how much his 4-year-old loves food, he vows to like be a better cook and gets help from a few people that he knows. And there is kind of near the end of the season, she watches him gut a fish for the first time, and she's like, he's like, you don't have to watch this. She's like, but it's crazy and awesome and terrifying. Are you saying that fish, when I eat it, goes in my tummy and I get energy?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And there's also the really cool, like, sort of, depending on your persuasion, you can buy into this more or less, but this sort of like interconnectedness of the universe aspect of it, where like the atoms of the food that you consume become you, which is that's just cool. When kids learn about like, oh, I'm made out of that stuff, like, that's fun.
You just reminded me of a really cool point from a book I had been reading. It's called Entangled Life, and it's by Merlin Sheldrake. It's a book about the role of fungi in the universe. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are obsessed with mushrooms, but that is only the fruiting body of fungi. So, like, fungi is made up of mycelial networks that, like, help trees talk to each other and all these sorts of different things. And they have relationships with lichen. And so there was a discovery that some species of fungi and lichen have, they don't pass DNA the same way as other things do. Like we have chromosomes, we have DNA that, you get from one parent, you get from another, and they twist together. But these lichen and fungi transfer DNA differently and take on characteristics of each other without mating. So
that's cool.
For example, if you and I if I passed you on the street and you had pink hair, if I brushed your shoulder just a little bit and a part of my hair turned pink, that is the DNA relationship that some lichen and fungi have. And it's like,
that'd be cool. Now I need to design like a fantasy race for my campaign setting that does that. Like,
what? And
that's very cool.
I know. I learned so much about mushrooms and mycelial networks, like resource management. Like a network decides where to send energy if there is a threat. Like, if it's being attacked in one area, it might deprioritize and dry up a mushroom over here so that it can spend the energy over here. And it's sprawling and expansive and communicative. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Highly
really
recommend
cool.
this book, everybody.
Yeah. It's like the perfect logical extension of like collectivization, like collective action, just like perfect, everybody working together to a common goal sort of thing.
But you're a mushroom.
Except on a cellular level, yeah.
On a cellular level, on the deepest underground cellular level. My gosh. So it's about 6:10. Joe, how do you feel about playing a little game?
Let's do it.
Let's play a little game, except with a twist, my friends. Usually we play a round of Chopped. Oh, yeah, Kelly, I'm talking about a book called Entangled Life. It's so good. I got it from my library. So normally here, we're pretending we're on Chopped, which is a TV show on Food Network. If you don't know what it is, it's a basket with 4 mystery ingredients in it, and chefs have to use them to make a dish. In our exercise, there are like no wrong answers, and the purpose is to think about how far your ingredients can go and maybe inspire your next meal. I don't know. But we're gonna play a little differently this time. Joe, will you set an environment for us that we're going to be cooking in? Any world, any time period, any culture. We're gonna go fiction food, everybody.
you know what? Let's get. I'll be totally selfish and put it in my D&D campaign setting that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
We're so it's future fantasy.
Okay.
So magic very much prevalent. Technology not so much. We're on an island in space. The island is basically Manhattan, but in space in the middle of a nebula.
Okay.
And it's so there you go. We can be in let's say a dive bar or like a diner.
Cool.
In the city of Dasper is what it's called.
City of Jasper. Okay, folks, in the chat.
There you go.
With this environment in mind, what are like 4 ingredients we would find in this environment? So it's again, can you repeat the island part?
Yeah, it's a void island.
A void island
in space. It's just suspended in a nebula. It's got lots of different beautiful magenta and yellow and blue stars all around it.
Cool.
Magically induced atmosphere, recycling water system made by mages thousands of years ago. And it's just a city. People go to work and there's trade and business happens. And it would look pretty normal to us, except everything's magic instead of electronic.
So chat, if you want to help come up with ingredients that are from this time and place, feel free to sound off. But I'm starting to think there are like maybe different kinds of vines that grow that are like, I don't know,
sure.
Not necessarily powered by the sun, but they get their energy elsewhere. Like maybe the magenta light is a different kind of growth and
some sort of like mana rays.
Yeah. So maybe there are these kind of, you know how like dandelions crack up between sidewalk here, like in the real world. Maybe this is something that sort of does the same thing but vertically, like in walls and stuff.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or just like a creeping vine along building exteriors that's actually good to eat for some reason.
Edible creeping vine. I'm gonna say it's along the lines of like a pea shoot.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So it has like
sweet.
fruiting bodies.
I don't know. Anyone else have ideas in the chat? Or do you already have some existing stuff in this world?
Well, see, that's why I brought it up. I don't have a lot of sort of culinary stuff for this. So you're helping me brainstorm now. There are a lot of like there are a lot of like birds in the city.
Ooh.
There's like portals to a nearby other plane that has lots of birds in it. And not that I would ever eat a pigeon, but I do have a sort of running in joke among my friend group that pigeons are just sky rats. So I can't imagine like certain areas of the city maybe trapping certain kinds of birds that are native there and cooking them. That would be interesting.
Yeah, squab is a thing. It's just it's really funny that most people decry eating pigeon, but it's such a high class thing if you call it squab.
Yeah,
So
true.
maybe it has like a nickname in the higher class.
yeah, the sort of low class areas call it one thing, and
Yeah.
upper class calls it a different thing.
That's so funny. Kelly says fried dough always exists.
True.
How does gravity work in this world?
It's normal gravity. So the laws of physics are based around relativity and like subjectivity.
Okay.
So magic works by manipulating yours and others' perspective of how reality works. So basically, gravity exists for people there because they believe that gravity exists. And it works just like it does on other planets because that's just what people naturally want to experience as gravity.
So could you say there is a generic donut you can buy or something like that, or a pastry, but the flavor changes depending on who is giving it to you?
That would be incredible. Yeah, that would be really good.
You're talking about perspective and like making magic, so.
And sort of the like skill or like quality aspect of it is how accurately they can reproduce that experience.
Ooh, that sounds cool. I really like that. Dang.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So like a really good enchanter, baker, or whatever, can accurately make you taste that cake you had for your 5th birthday or whatever. But like a terrible up and coming chef, it tastes like, I don't know, molasses or something.
Too much.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, I like that. Blending the magic with, as bringing it back to earlier when, we're talking about magic and cooking, totally separate things, but they're one and the same in this situation, which is really exciting. Okay, so we have local city bird. We have a fried dough. We have some edible vine. Maybe if someone from the chat would like to give us a 4th ingredient in this fictional world, but we can start playing with this. So because we're in a fictional world, we can do whatever the fuck we want, really. How would y'all cook these ingredients together in a meal? There's no pressure. You could do 2 things, or you could do 3 things, or, zhuzh up 1 thing.
There's one place my brain goes immediately living in Texas,
Please tell me.
That's just a fried chicken sandwich.
Oh,
the equivalent. Yeah, a fried pigeon sandwich with some pickle equivalent on it. Maybe they pickle the like beans from this vine or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Chop them up and put them on top.
They've got nice, like, thick, hollow stems that, meant for climbing up tall buildings and transferring, all that phloem and water upward. So they've got really cool, like, shoots and stems. So you could pickle those. I like that. Very celery-like, but tastes sweet.
Yes.
Fried dough. Fried dough and the bird. So sandwich is a very obvious one.
It just makes perfect sense.
Like a poultry salad sandwich also is another way to go if you're not frying things. Let's see. You can do a crouton out of the fried dough and do like a salad.
Yeah, and some sort of like poultry sausage sort of thing. Nice. Like grinding it up.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yum, man! Everybody's making me hungry. Even in fictional lands, I'm always hungry.
Yeah. Gonna have to break out my mortar and pestle and.
That as a tool is always so interesting to see how it manifests in different worlds.
Right.
Like we have stoneware. You have wood. You ever seen a mezzaluna before?
I don't think so.
What that is? So in Italy, there is a circular cutting board with sort of a shallow dip in it, and there's a knife that fits the curve of it in the half moon shape, and it has 2 handles on the top that you rock back and forth, and so you can
That's cool.
Yeah, it's called a mezzaluna because it's
like
it's a half moon.
Yeah. The way those things interact, like fitting into each other, makes me think of like a molcajete.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
where it fits the shape of the bowl,
Yeah.
so you can get better grinding.
Yeah, I recently learned that you have to season your molcajete.
Yeah.
I did not know this. Like a cast iron, you season a molcajete. I was like, what?
Yeah. And when you
not
think
know.
about it, it makes perfect sense.
Totally.
But, yeah.
I mean, I have a quartz mortar and pestle, so it's not the same. So it's not as absorbent and will not season the same way. But
Yeah.
now I want one.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like all pour,
Yeah, it's all very porous, volcanic,
Mhm.
which is cool. Volcanic.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Maybe there's a volcano at the center.
Wait,
of the...
is there a alternative heat source that is
Yeah.
not magic,
It does. Okay. So there is.
or is there a magic heat source or something like
there
that?
are multiple. There are multiple sort of planar portals on the in certain areas of the city that they largely conduct trade through. But there is a portal to a place called Deep Haven, which is like this sort of infinite underground that has like lava lakes and stuff in it.
Oh my
So
God.
I mean,
That's cool. That's cool. Like in Hawaii, there are lava fields on the Big Island, and there are some viral, food videos of barbecuing over 6,000-degree heat.
Yeah.
Which is not really barbecuing anymore.
Yeah. At that point, you're just incinerating.
Yeah. Really funny. Oh my gosh. But I like that thought of using these portals to get to different places, to explore
Yeah.
different environments. Wow.
Yeah, like I'd imagine Deep Haven probably has some like rare mushrooms or something, or like
Hell yeah.
weird underground insects.
Like heat-resistant insects
Yeah.
that need to be processed otherwise, because heat obviously will not kill them.
Yeah. Ooh,
That's
yeah, that's an interesting
crazy.
idea.
So using like fermentation or acids or
Yeah.
pickling to get them to soften or die,
Yeah.
or blunt force, really.
Exactly. You got to get through that carapace somehow.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, we soak these carapace like we soak beans.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh my.
Like pickled centipede is just disturbing. That's
It exists in the world, though. I know.
yeah.
for sure.
No.
My goodness. Last call for ideas in our fictional round of Chopped, my friends. We're working with some kind of fried dough. We've got like a sweet tasting vine that grows in the city. We've got a city bird that is not a pigeon, but kind of like a pigeon.
Yeah, basically a pigeon.
Kind of. The challenge with those is that they're so small and they don't really have a lot of content. You know?
I mean, we're working in a fantasy setting. These could be like just actually rat-like.
Yeah.
And just maybe some of them are real big. They can't really fly. They sort of climb and walk
like
around.
a hen, like
Yeah.
like a hefty hen. We can always do empanadas, like fried ones. Ooh,
True. You got
Always
some fried
good.
dough.
always good.
Mhm.
Always good. You ever had an elephant ear?
I haven't.
It is. I'm surprised you don't know about this because you're in Texas.
Is that the cactus?
No, it is a fried dough. It's as big as an elephant ear that you can get at city fair, like county fairs.
Oh, okay.
But basically, it's just a big flat donut that gets powdered sugar all over it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
yeah,
I
it's
guess
called elephant
we're more
ears.
funnel cakes in our region than elephant ear, but that's great.
I made one for a cookbook last year that it was a savory elephant ear, so it was like white cheddar powder and pepper on a big
Ooh.
fried dough.
That sounds amazing.
It's so good.
Or like yeah, that'd be good. And like on like a sopapilla, I guess you could do something similar too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yum. That is actually very close, except they're just different sizes.
Yeah, they're just big. Yeah.
Wow. I love this exercise. It's so good. But
Yeah,
folks,
it's
we are
fun.
nearing the end of the stream. Joe, how can people follow you and find your projects?
Man, you can go to thefanit.com. That's my collective's website. That's a really easy place. I have a link tree
yeah, here we
which
go.
we can link there. Yeah, link tr.ee/speakwithanimals.
There you go.
Um,
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and that has my music on there under Mapper, the Fanit website, links to subscribe to Lore Club, the podcast, and my Twitch, which I am probably going to start streaming on again soon. I've taken a couple months off, so I'm going to get back into the grind of Twitch. But yeah, tons of places. You can see me all over the internet.
Hey,
Hell yeah.
Ariad.
Thank you, Ariad.
Good to see you. Glad you caught us here at the end.
Yeah.
Before we go, I just want to tell you about some upcoming guests, my friends. On the 15th, we have my friend Abby Belingit, who is a baker here in Brooklyn. She's going to be talking about her cookbook that's coming out on the 28th. It's called Mayumu, which is a Pangasinan word for sweet. So her books is all about dessert. After that, on February 22nd, we have Teresa Finney, who runs a micro bakery in Atlanta. She's going to talk about her business, which is called At Heart Panaderia, as well as the perils of Patreon, which I have a lot to say about.
Plenty to deplore for discussion there.
I know, right? And on March 1st, we have my friend Didi Paterno Magpali, who was actually my tour guide when I was in Texas. So she's going to talk about local food up there in Frisco, where I was staying.
Nice.
Frisco, Louisville, Dallas area. So she's going to talk about food writing as well as local finds and how to find good food when you're new to a place. Because she's lived several places in her life, which we're going to get into when we talk to her in March. But those are the guests, y'all. We're going to be here every Wednesday on Attack the Pantry, 5 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. Joe, any parting information that you want to say to the folks?
Thank you for existing.
Yeah.
That's good of you. You should keep doing that.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for existing. That's so nice. I will take that with me for the rest of the evening. Folks, if you are not busy later, I'm going to be streaming again with Fun City at 7 p.m., which is in 30 minutes, over at the Fun City Twitch channel, which is Fun City Ventures here on this platform. But for now, Joe, stick around. I'm going to take us both off the stream, but let's see if we can raid a friend. But everybody, hopefully see you in 30 minutes over in Fun City, or if I don't, next week here on Attack the Pantry.
Bye
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.